At 2:47 a.m. local time, just off the icy coast of northern Norway, sonar operators at U.S. naval station Andøya detected something they weren't supposed to hear: a low-frequency pulse unlike any known Russian submarine signature. Moments later, that strange echo transformed into something unmistakable: a torpedo launch. The weapon didn't hit anything. It wasn't meant to. It detonated mid-water, creating a massive acoustic shockwave that reached sensors across the North Atlantic. It was a message, not a strike, and it came from Russia's newest stealth submarine, the K-561 Kazan, a Yasen-class nuclear-powered hunter-killer. What happened over the next 72 minutes triggered the most serious US-Russia naval escalation in the Arctic since the Cold War, because Moscow didn't just test a weapon, it tested America's resolve. The Yasen submarine, equipped with Caliber and Zircon hypersonic cruise missiles, had been shadowing US Navy assets operating near the Norwegian Sea, just 210 nautical miles from the US air base at Andøya. American intelligence later confirmed that the Kazan had been operating in ultra-quiet mode, using a new reactive noise cancellation system that made it virtually invisible to standard sonar. But what Russia didn't know was that America was already watching. Orbiting overhead was a US P-8 Poseidon patrol aircraft, its synthetic aperture radar mapping every movement under the ice. Below, a Seawolf-class submarine, USS Connecticut, had been quietly tracking the Kazan for more than 48 hours. When the torpedo detonated, the US response was immediate. Within 6 minutes, DEFCON 3 Arctic protocols were activated. Andøya Air Base went into full tactical lockdown. 2 US F-35A Lightning II jets, deployed in partnership with the Royal Norwegian Air Force, were scrambled to intercept and provide maritime overwatch. In the command room, the tone was ice cold and clinical. Satellite uplinks confirmed the torpedo's acoustic fingerprint, Russian origin, but that wasn't the real shock. Telemetry revealed that the torpedo's trajectory terminated just 11 miles from a classified US underwater communications hub, a node linking Arctic radar systems to NATO's Atlantic Command. This wasn't a random test. It was a strategic intimidation attempt, a demonstration of proximity, and it meant only one thing: Russia wanted Washington to know how close it could get. Inside the Pentagon, a red flag intelligence report was triggered under Arctic Command Protocol 7, reserved for nuclear-capable submarine maneuvers near Allied territory. At 2:59 a.m., the message was clear: Yasen-class submarine operating within weapons release proximity. US and NATO forces authorized to shadow and prepare countermeasure deployment. As the Kazan began retreating north toward the Barents Sea, US and Norwegian sonar arrays tracked its every movement. But this wasn't just surveillance, it was data harvesting. Each sound ping, each propeller signature, every frequency bounce was being fed into America's AI-assisted acoustic library, building a complete stealth profile of Russia's newest submarine. At 3:17 a.m., USS Connecticut shifted to intercept position, maintaining a silent, parallel course. For the first time in history, two of the world's most advanced submarines, one Russian, one American, were running side by side under the Arctic waters, each aware of the other, neither willing to surface. Up above, the P-8 Poseidon deployed sonobuoy clusters across the area, creating an invisible web of sensors. Every bubble, every vibration was captured. The Americans weren't chasing the Kazan. They were recording everything it could do, but the Russians weren't finished. At 3:29 a.m., sonar picked up a second launch, another torpedo, but this time it didn't detonate. It ran silent for 90 seconds, then vanished from all sensors. That was the moment the Pentagon realized the truth. Russia wasn't firing at anything. It was testing a new stealth torpedo guidance system, one designed to evade American counterdetection. And in doing so, Moscow had just revealed its most guarded naval secret. By dawn, NATO's entire northern command was on high alert. Anti-submarine aircraft patrolled non-stop. US destroyers repositioned across the Norwegian coast, and cyber units began intercepting Russian naval data transmissions across the Arctic. What began as a warning shot had turned into a classified hunt beneath frozen seas. But what America did next would shake Moscow's naval command and send a message the entire world would hear. The Arctic dawn was quiet, deceptively so, but beneath the fractured ice and black water, an invisible war was already underway. At 4:03 a.m., as the Yasen-class submarine, Kazan, slipped northward toward Russian waters. U.S. Strategic Command authorized a response operation that would redefine the limits of undersea warfare. The order came from Rear Admiral Isaac Rourke, commander of NATO's Northern Maritime Defense Zone. His voice, calm but cold, echoed through encrypted channels.
"This isn't about retaliation. This is about demonstration. The Arctic is not theirs to threaten."
Within seconds, Operation Frost Shield was activated. In the depths of the Barents Sea, USS Connecticut, one of only 3 Seawolf-class submarines ever built, shifted from tracking to engagement mode. Her orders were simple, yet dangerous. Shadow the Kazan, record every acoustic movement, and prepare countermeasures if Russia crossed the red line. The Seawolf is a ghost, a $3 billion machine built for one purpose: hunting the hunters. At depths exceeding 1,500 feet, its titanium hull absorbed sonar like a sponge, its propulsion system almost inaudible. As the crew adjusted to ultra-silent running, sonar operator Lieutenant Mason Ford whispered to his commander,
"Sir, she's changing depth. Looks like she's diving deeper, attempting to break sonar lock."
The response came swiftly. Let her run. We're still painting her from 12 miles out. At 4:37 a.m., the Connecticut activated its Acoustic Counterintelligence Suite, ACIS, a system so advanced that only 3 submarines in the world are known to carry it. The program used underwater sound waves to jam and overwrite enemy torpedo guidance systems. In other words, hijack them. The U.S. crew watched as the Kazan's torpedo abruptly turned, not toward the Connecticut, but back toward its launch origin point. The Kazan's sonar feed scrambled, believing it was being hunted. In seconds, the hunter became the prey. Deep beneath the Arctic Circle, a chess match of steel and silence unfolded, one move at a time. At Andoya Air Base, U.S. Northern Command received confirmation that Russia's torpedo had gone rogue. That was the moment the Pentagon decided to make the message unmistakable. Rear Admiral Rourke ordered USS Roosevelt, a nearby Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, to surface 80 nautical miles west of the Kazan's position and broadcast broadband active sonar pulses, the underwater equivalent of turning on floodlights in the dark. For submariners, active sonar is war. It announces your position. It challenges the enemy. It says, "We see you. We're not afraid." The Roosevelt's sonar array fired a single pulse across 300 miles of Arctic water. Every Russian sensor in the region picked it up. The Kazan's stealth advantage was gone in an instant. At the same time, NATO command in Stavanger, Norway, coordinated with US Space Command to reposition 2 reconnaissance satellites, Keyhole-class optical imagers capable of detecting thermal anomalies through cloud cover and ice. Within 90 seconds, infrared scans confirmed the Kazan's position, 37 nautical miles northwest of Tromsø, diving deeper into the continental shelf. That was all Washington needed. At 5:03 a.m., the President of the United States signed the emergency authorization for Operation Arctic Spear, a classified mission under NATO Article 5 Readiness Protocol. Its objective: demonstrate superiority without direct confrontation. In plain language, scare Moscow half to death. By 5:11 a.m., the Roosevelt and her escort destroyer USS Ramage launched a coordinated electronic warfare strike using long-range ANNSLLQ 32 V6 jamming arrays. High-energy sonar pulses flooded the Barents communication corridor, disrupting Russian undersea channels for over 200 miles. In military terms, the entire Arctic sector went digitally blind for 6 minutes. Simultaneously, from RAF Fairford in the UK, 2 B-2 Spirit stealth bombers took off under radio silence, heading north across the Norwegian Sea. Their payload, non-lethal EMP precision weapons designed to disable radar installations and communication grids, a modern version of shock without fire. At 6:02 a.m., the EMP burst struck near the Severomorsk naval base, Russia's Northern Fleet headquarters. For exactly 23 seconds, every radar system from Murmansk to Kola Peninsula went offline. It was as if the Arctic sky had blinked. The message was clear. The US could blind the Russian Navy at will. Below the ice, chaos reigned inside the Kazan. Russian operators scrambled to stabilize sonar feeds and re-establish contact with headquarters, but their encrypted communications were dead. For the first time, the Yasen-class submarine, Russia's crown jewel of stealth technology, was cut off and alone. Commander Blake aboard the Connecticut issued the final order. "We've made our point. Shadow her home." For the next 90 minutes, the American submarine tracked the Kazan's slow retreat northward, recording every system pulse, every propulsion signature. When the Russian sub finally crossed into its own territorial waters, the Seawolf disengaged and surfaced beneath the fading Arctic light. Overhead, the B-2 Spirits turned south, unseen and unchallenged. Operation Arctic Spear was over. Not a single shot was fired, but the outcome was decisive, a complete electronic and psychological defeat for Russia's Northern Fleet. By 7 a.m., U.S. Northern Command released a classified status report titled Arctic Deterrence Restored. The report outlined the entire sequence, from detection to counteraction, in 214 minutes flat. In that short span, the U.S. Navy had identified a stealth Russian submarine within 30 nautical miles of a U.S. base, hijacked a live torpedo mid-water using counter-acoustic AEEI, blinded Russia's northern communications for 6 minutes, executed a satellite-guided EMP strike on a Russian radar hub, re-established total control of the Arctic data grid, all without a single American or Russian casualty. For the Pentagon, it was a proof of concept, a demonstration that modern deterrence no longer depended on visible firepower. In this new era, wars begin and end in milliseconds, not missile salvos. But inside the Kremlin, it was humiliation. Russian analysts later reported unexplained sensor failures and communication anomalies during a routine exercise. Careful wording that avoided mentioning what had really happened. And though Moscow never admitted it publicly, satellite tracking showed that within 48 hours, the Kazan was recalled to its home port at Severodvinsk for system recalibration. In plain terms, repairs. As dawn broke over the Arctic Circle, the frozen sea was calm again, silent, as if nothing had happened. But under the ice, the scars of that digital duel remain. Echoes of sonar bursts, fragments of data, and the memory of a moment when the world's two most powerful navies came face to face in the cold void. For the sailors aboard the Connecticut, it wasn't victory they felt, it was relief. They had faced down a weapon of the future and walked away unseen. And for Washington, one truth was clear. In the age of stealth and cyber warfare, control of the unseen battlefield is worth more than any missile or aircraft. Russia's submarine fired first, but America ended the game, not with destruction, but with dominance. Because in modern war, the loudest message is silence.